All right, so now let's go over what a directive is. If you don't already know, a directive is could be three things really. It could be a component, which is what we have here, our app root component with a template and style URL. But all directives have a selector. So we have our components selector right here, and we use that inside of our template of our index.html, and that's how we render this bad boy right here. Then there are also attribute directives, which are things that change the behavior of a component, but don't affect how the template of that component or element actually look. So just so you can understand what that actually means, let's go ahead and make our own directive. And what this directive is going to do is it's going to uppercase whatever element we put it on. So let's go ahead and import directive right up here. And we are also going to import element reference, which just is going to allow me to get the reference or the of whatever element that I put it on. So let's go selector, and our selector is going to be called, let's say, uppercase, just like that. And then we are going to go down here and make a class for it, just like we did for our component. Export class, and then we're going to call it uppercase directive. All right, and then let's just make this a lowercase c instead, uppercase directive. And now right here, we're going to put a constructor, and we're going to get that element reference. We're going to make a private variable for this class, element reference and element reference. Boom, just like that. And inside here, we're just going to go ahead and make that element reference capitalize whatever's inside of it. So we're going to say elements, native elements, style, and then text transform. And that's going to be equal to uppercase. So now we're going to go to our template for our app component. And there we are. And we're going to uppercase our name or our title we have here. So let's go ahead and say just like this. We just put our selector on there just like that. Let's go ahead and put this in square brackets because that's an attribute. And perfect. One more thing we have to do is we have to import that into our module. So if we go over here into our app module.ts and we say uppercase directive, uppercase directive right there in our declarations like we do with all our components as well. So if we go back to our application and we type in a title, you'll see that the title is capitalized no matter what uh, case I give it in the input here. All right, so now let's go on to structural directives, which is the next type of directive. The thing that structural directives do is that they actually change the template itself. So they may take away something, or they may add something, or they may just move it around. But that's what structural directives are for. And we're going to go ahead and make our own structural directive just so you can see and just going to get a feel for what that actually is. So we're going to go ahead and sit and do this directive. And then we're going to say selector. And then we're going to do an if not. So there's an ng if in Angular, but there is not an ng if not. So we're going to make an if not directive. I'm going to say export class if not directive, so we can go ahead and import this in our app module later. And let's go ahead and do that right now. If not directive, if not directive, and then if not directive right there in our declarations. All right, and then here we're going to need a few things. We're going to need some imports. So we're going to need a template reference. We're going to need a view container reference. And that's just the view or the container that this is going to be in, the element that's going to be in. And then we also need input because we're going to get an input from this or for this. And now we're going to go ahead and say input and say we're going to set if not. So we're going to set if not. So whenever if not is being set in our for our attribute, we want to do something. This is a function, and that's going to do this, but we need a few things first before we do that, and that's going to be in our constructor. Our constructor is going to need that template reference, and then it's also going to need the view container reference. Container, perfect. And then right up here, we're also going to need one more thing, and that is a has view variable. And this is going to say if this is already in a view or not. Oop, boolean, and that's going to be equal to false. This needs to be in any template reference. And then now, right in here, we're going to say a condition that's going to be put in here. So if it's true or false, that's going to be true or false. So let's go ahead and say that that's a boolean in our TypeScript. And then we're going to say if condition or not condition, because this is for if it's not true and there is no view or there is not already, it's not already showing, we are going to go ahead and put that in the DOM. So we're going to say this dot view container should be. Why can't I get that? That's okay. Just type it out. Container. Oh yes, I can't get that because I didn't make it a variable. Let's go up here and make these private variables for our class. Declare those as private variables, view container, and then dot. We're going to create an embedded view just like that. And then we're going to give it the template reference. Then we're also going to set this dot has view equal to true, so because it's now showing. So this is for showing template. And then if it's not doing that, we're going to have an else if. We're going to say if the condition is true, which means we don't want to show it anymore, and we have a view, so that means we don't want to change anything if there is nothing to change. We're going to say this dot view container dot clear, and this just takes it off of the DOM, and this says this dot has view is equal to false, because now we don't have a view anymore. And I'm missing something right up here, and that's just some parentheses. All right, so now if I go to the template, I should be able to use that. So we're going to go down here and we're going to say H2, and we're going to use that right there. So there's some syntactic sugar in Angular 2. Don't worry about it too much because it's going to make a lot more sense when we use ngIf and ng4 and all those great things. And we're going to say if not name. So if there's no name, we're going to print out no name yet. Right, and then let's make sure that's imported. Yes, it is. So if we go back to our application, oh, we got something wrong. No exported member if not directive. It looks like I mistyped here. Let's go back to our here. If not direct. Oh, I spelled directive wrong. Directive. And then let's go back to our module. If not directive. And we go back to our application. We should see something similar to this. So no name yet, because that is our template here that says if not named, then go ahead and say no name yet. And then if we type a name or a title, we say this. We have a title and it goes away just like that. So there are the three types of directives. We have the structural directive here, the attribute directive, and then of course this whole component is also a directive itself. And if we go back to our application, you'll see that no name yet is definitely uppercase if I put the uppercase attribute on there. Awesome, guys.